Here's your report.
Oh, thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire someone just like you.
Try LinkedIn Hiring Pro. It's more than a job board. It's like the recruiter you always wished you had. Hiring Pro uses real-time insights to match your role to LinkedIn's unique network of professionals and delivers a short list of best fit candidates. You'll spend less time sorting applicants and more time talking to the right people.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Energía baja, falta de concentración, niebla mental. You might be dehydrated. Gatorade Zero Powders han sido diseñados científicamente para ayudarte a mejorar el balance de hidratación en el cuerpo. Hechos con la mezcla número 1 de electrolitos, sin colores ni sabores artificiales. Shop now online or at retailers nationwide. Gatorade hydrates better than water. Is it in you? Signos de dehidratación leve y moderada. Consulta a tu médico si los síntomas persisten.
Hold on to your butts.
We are changing the course of history as we see it. That is what Western demands.
Now this affects Iris. Iris, where are you?
What if we're still doing this when we're 50?
I do not entertain hypotheticals. The world as it is vexing enough.
What you feel only matters to you.
Iris, I have a tip for you.
Don't take drugs!
Or Whatever Movies with Wesley and Iris.
What up and welcome to Or Whatever Movies. I'm your co-host Iris and I'm here with my older brother,
Wesley.
Today we're talking a movie from 2007, Danny Boyle directed, Sunshine
and Prunes, Space Month. Okay, Iris, as before, we are doing again a Back in Time. What is Sunshine about?
Is it the one where Cillian Murphy is standing in front of the light and he's like, oh, he's like in space and stuff?
Yes. Why is he standing in front of the light?
'Cause it's like Space God or something. And Vera Farmiga is there?
Yep.
George Clooney?
Why is Mother Bates and Batman George Clooney there with Oppenheimer?
And I think that when they're all in the light or when Cillian Murphy's in the light, it's like God and simultaneously annihilation. Something like that. Why are we ending Space Month with a horror film?
So there's a song by Paul Simon called Slip Sliding Away.
Slip Sliding Away.
And he said that he wanted the song to be a nice trilogy about a man and then a woman and then a father and son. And at the last minute, he wimped out and had to include a verse about God.
Wimped out?
He said if he felt it would have been better as a trilogy of stories, and that he chickened out and couldn't not include a God verse. Alex Garland, in his own way, is also kind of a God dude or a philosophy dude or whatever. And he can't not be weird. And Sunshine starts off super spacey and super sciencey, and then just he can't not be weird.
Alex Garland specifically? Who's weirder, Alex Garland or Danny Boyle?
Danny Boyle, I think, he's just kind of a bro, and he's known for his stylistic elements, but veering into horror, I think, is all Alex Garland. As reinforced by Annihilation, which he directed, Ex Machina, Civil War, it's kind of his thing. And those surreal elements are what make them work well together as a team. They have some good output that I admire. On his own, directing his own movies, the weirdness is manifest.
So who really drives the creative of this film? As I was watching Sunshine, I felt like the directing was so obvious, like in my face, like don't forget, there's a director behind these images and this story that I'm telling. Like a little bit like Danny Boyle couldn't get out of his own way, but was he basically just doing what Alex Garland said? Who is the creative force behind Sunshine?
Danny Boyle, and I think because Alex Garland, as of 2007, had not directed a film, they collaborated with 28 Days Later, which was Danny Boyle's kind of crazy visual aesthetic that he had established, long before Alex Garland came around. So I think it was Danny Boyle's world. And Alex Garland was writing the stuff, but only came into his true weirdness a little bit later on.
So they did 28 Days Later, and then they ported Cillian Murphy over to Sunshine. Is Cillian Murphy weird?
Yes, who Kelly Ray referred to the entire viewing of this movie as Crazy Eyes Magoo.
I would say he has more of a pretty face than just crazy eyes. He has a very, very pretty face, like distractingly pretty.
Would you say that Oppenheimer was pretty?
Well, he kind of grew into his distinctiveness, as most men do. What's up with that, dude?
I don't know. The superior sex?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Fairness only lasts for so long, and when you are the fairer sex or whatever, then inevitably, the bloom of youth fades. I don't know.
I'm just saying Cillian Murphy is no less attractive. He's just attractive in a different way.
Yeah.
So the three of them reunite on Sunshine, no less a scary movie than maybe 28 Days Later. So is what's his name?
Pinnacle, Pinterest,
Pinbacker.
Pinbacker.
Pinbacker is basically haunting the Icarus 1, and then he leaves Icarus 1 for Icarus 2, and then destroys the airlock so that he can sabotage the mission of Icarus 2. Is he crazy, or did he really connect with and commune with God for 7 years on the Icarus 1?
Come on. Does anybody actually connect and commune with God out in space? He was set on a suicide mission to jumpstart the sun. And he was the lone survivor and out there floating and totally going nuts. He was trying to sabotage the Icarus 2 crew because he believed that mankind's demise on Earth, that was God's will.
But he heard that from the sun because the sun apparently had its draw and its allure.
So we lose Cassie kind of later in the movie, and we're like, what happened to Cassie? Because Kappa is trying to manually detonate or launch the payload. And she said, I'm not sure. When did we last see her? And Kelly said, last we saw her, she was running from Burning Man. So when you're out there in the heat for a long time, you just go nuts.
We do see Cassie's end. When Cap is attempting to detonate or to launch the thing. I don't really know what he needs to do. If the payload comes into contact with the sun, does he really need to do anything manually? After the thing is launched and detached, he has to do something beyond then?
Yes, there's a fusion reaction that needs to happen, and simply burning it up. Like if you drop an atomic weapon, it's not going to detonate when it hits the ground. It has to be activated, and they usually explode above ground for maximum damage. But still, it's not like gunpowder.
So this is Cillian Murphy's second atomic bomb movie?
No, it's his first atomic bomb movie of 2.
Oh, right. Of 2. So, okay. So he still has business on the payload after it's been detached from the Icarus 2. And the coda suggests that his mission was successful?
Well, yeah. People were confused about that. And I'm confused about why people would be confused about that. He said to his sister, "Hi, sis." It's super awkward. And he's like, just if one day if you go out and it's a particularly beautiful day and the sun's a little bit brighter, then we will have succeeded in our mission.
Okay, so a little bit confusing because when we see him in the video pod or whatever, he's clearly talking to his parents. He says, "Aren't you proud of your son?" Blah, blah, blah. Is his transmission to his sister part of the hour-long session that he had in there that precluded Chris Evans from going in there?
I think it was before, and I think that the final message was to his parents that he couldn't really get out.
Where he couldn't express himself more emotionally?
Just sufficiently so that he took up Chris Evans's time.
So Mace is kind of set up to be the bad guy, but really he's just kind of the practical guy, and he's quite heroic by the end. This is kind of a Captain America like precursor for Chris Evans.
For sure.
Mace.
He's the just do it guy. Find a way. I don't know how. Kappa, just do it. And he's freezing to death. But Cap comes through every time. He's the one who's like, nope, you got to keep the ship on course. Let's kill Kaneda. Let's give Kappa the suit. When it comes down to it, if his motivations were at all selfish, he would have taken the suit. Captain America could have kicked Oppenheimer's ass and taken the suit when Pinbacker blew the airlock. Cap comes through every time. He's the one
Mace comes through every time, not Kappa. Mace.
Captain America.
Oh, but That's confusing because Cillian Murphy's character is named Kappa.
That's not my fault. Captain America, Mace, is the one who was willing to kill Kaneda. He gave Kappa the suit, and even against the misgivings of the captain or whatever. There's Captain, there's Kappa, and Captain America. He was like, okay, it's time to kill Wong. He was the one who, after we established how truly cold the coolant bath was for the processor, he like grabbed that wrench and he was like grimacing because it was so cold for a split second. He lowered himself into the bath in order to submerge the unit. He was the just do it guy.
The whole Kaneda thing. What other movie suffers from the Kaneda effect? Kaneda could have made it. Kaneda's sacrifice is unnecessary, unmotivated, and actually hurts the mission.
And really, really tense. So I guess stakes, Kaneda is the first to go out in a truly tragic fashion. He sacrificed himself for the mission to close the panels. And his death motivated Wong. I don't even know what Wong's real name. His name is Benedict Wong, and he was Wong in the Avengers. Trey. He prompted his decline, his, I guess, suicide. I don't think Pinbacker killed Wong. Trey. Very important stakes. I think he did. And thrilling to watch, and knowing that Kaneda faced his death head on. He wasn't running and gasping. He looked directly into the sun.
Run for it. It's not like him trying would have compromised Kappa. They could have both made it safely to the shadow of the shield.
But Kappa barely even made it, and those suits are like 300 pounds. You try to make it to the edge of the shield.
I didn't really realize that till the end when Kappa falls, and he's like willing himself to get back up. I was like, what's happening here?
Very important stakes for Kaneda to die. Also, but it helped, and I think I'm going to argue that it helped the movie because we didn't have to suffer through Japanese English exposition.
Another movie that suffers from the Kaneda effect is Quiet Place 2.
Oh, no. A Quiet Place 1, you mean? When John Krasinski yells like Tarzan and then doesn't run?
That's exactly what I'm saying. What? Unnecessary. I get it, you want to die with dignity, and maybe it's more heroic to literally face the light, but...
Who invented the concept of harakiri? The Japanese is the answer. You die with dignity by your choice. You sacrifice yourself for the greater good because you do that out of shame.
But you were just talking about the snowball effect of Kaneda's death. It sends Trey on his depression spiral, and it also further encourages Searle in his son craziness, both of which have very detrimental effects to the mission.
Mm-hmm. Well, Searle he was doomed to wait until his resources ran out, but he wanted to meet God on his own terms, like he envisioned Kaneda doing.
But presumably does not survive. So how does Pinbacker survive?
Searle, he went up to 100% exposure to the sun, which I think is what Kappa did to Pinbacker at the end. He turned the sun up to 100%, the filter down, and ran out of the room. But Pinbacker was already in motion, so I think he only took the sun blast for a split second, and he already built up his resistance.
Yeah, because the last we see of Pinbacker is him looking over the strange three-dimensional space cube in the payload.
Yep.
Why doesn't he come tumbling after Cassie and Kappa?
It's convenient that he dangled him over the precipice, which then when the gravity shifted was just the ground. And then they landed, and Kappa landed exactly where he needed to put in the code or whatever and override and manually execute the payload, right?
I guess I would have thought it was convenient had I really understood what was happening.
Again, just unnecessary.
Space-wise.
So it has a lot of elements of the other movies in Space Month. It has the slingshot around Mercury, I guess, right? For from Apollo 13, the sun is dying and they
love the slingshots. And yes, this shares the sun dyingness with Interstellar.
And Sunshine, a commercial disappointment, a critical disappointment in some respects, but why does it maybe it doesn't endure. The stellar cast is what stellar, get it? Is what kind of kept it around in my mind. But why does it endure, or why does it deserve a place in Space Month, considering it recycles some tropes. Some of the science is definitely wonky, because the only thing that Kelly Ray remembered about this movie, and that you remember about this movie, is the God stuff. And Kelly remembers Pinbacker's arm peeling off, and she's like, I know. I was like, what do you remember? And she's like, I know that there's a gross burned space guy, and that's it. So my question is, if this had been the straight science movie with, sure, some religious elements, would it have found its place, or would it have been forgettable? Because most people praised the first couple of acts of Sunshine.
Did you notice twice how the women stand by as Kappa and Mace fight for no reason?
Yep. What did she say? What did Cassie say? Too much testosterone in there or something?
And then the second time, my favorite line by Michelle Yeoh, where she's like, all right, let me know when you guys are done. And it's like, exactly.
Man.
You guys, seriously? Your manliness is getting in the way of completing the mission and saving mankind?
It wasn't manliness necessarily, but they expressed their manliness, I suppose, in aggression when Mace couldn't say goodbye to his parents, and so he punches their physicist, or ineffectually wrestles their physicist.
Doesn't it seem like a mission liability for Kappa to be the only one to detonate the payload?
Well, it is, and then Mace volunteers the only critical member to go on the spacewalk with Kaneda to repair the panels. That's weird.
Well, yeah, because he's all pissed, but then later he's like, you take the suit, Kappa. You're
Right,
the
but
only one who's important.
He volunteers him. I volunteer Kappa, and everyone's like, okay, that's probably the best.
I agree. It's really weird, especially given his turn at the end where he is defending Kappa, who's silent on the matter, to Harvey, who wants the suit, because Harvey's afraid.
Yep, Harvey's afraid. It's kind of Harvey's thing. Do you think that Harvey looks back on this movie, Troy Garrity, and just looks back on the cast, all of whom far outstripped him in terms of, their potential as actors later on, and is like, dude, how come I had to be left behind? Even Mark Strong, who I had no idea at the time, is a name known to me. I can call his name to mind immediately. I was like, huh? How about this cast, huh? And Troy Garrity is the only person I couldn't name.
Here's your report.
Oh, thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire someone just like you.
Try LinkedIn Hiring Pro. It's more than a job board. It's like the recruiter you always wished you had. Hiring Pro uses real-time insights to match your role to LinkedIn's unique network of professionals and delivers a short list of best fit candidates. You'll spend less time sorting applicants and more time talking to the right people.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Energía baja, falta de concentración, niebla mental. You might be dehydrated. Gatorade Zero Powders han sido diseñados científicamente para ayudarte a mejorar el balance de hidratación en el cuerpo. Hechos con la mezcla número 1 de electrolitos sin colores ni sabores artificiales. Shop now online or at retailers nationwide. Gatorade hydrates better than water. Is it in you? Signos de dehidratación leve y moderada. Consulta a tu médico si los síntomas persisten.
He's like, I'm the captain, guys. I'm the captain. Right? Guys, I was the captain. And he's all pissed. But multiple Academy Award winners, multiple Emmy winners, and just beloved actors this some 20 years later.
Can you name another Cliff Curtis movie who played Searle?
No.
One of the great character actors of his generation. He was in Training Day. Do you remember who he was in Training Day?
No.
He was the Vato. He was Smiley, who almost blew Ethan Hawke's head off.
Oh, in the scary house.
Yep. Great character actor. He's actually a Kiwi.
Spoiler.
A New Zealander. He's Maori.
Which made him appropriate for Avatar Fire and Ash?
Sure. As one of the water people, though, in this one, he's more of a fire dude.
He is definitely more of a fire dude. Interesting choice for the opening shot, Searle in front of the sun. I guess it's pretty telling of the themes of Sunshine.
What are the themes of Sunshine?
It's supposed to be that whole inspirational, like, best of humankind is what saves humankind kind of a thing. But then there's this whole... all of the sun poisoning stuff is really weird and kind of confuses the message for me. You say that Alex Garland is a god guy. You don't need to go into space to commune and connect with God? I mean, unless he's like some kind of very specific sun-worshipping kind of God. It feels kind of like the God people in this are the crazy ones.
Yes. And that's because religious zealotry is amplified when the sample group of those affected becomes smaller. If he's shouting on the street corner at Comic-Con, you're like, oh, look at that dude, that's silly. But when you're a core member of a science team of like half a dozen on a spaceship, the God Nut reigns supreme in terms of crazy.
Were Cassie and Kappa romantically involved? Why is she there when he wakes up from his dream? Or is that like the bunkhouse?
They felt that it was enough. Cillian Murphy and Rose Byrne did film a love scene. I don't know how explicit it was. And then Danny Boyle cut it. He felt that their little quiet connection was enough. And they weren't like a hand-holdy kind of couple. It might have been frowned upon, for the mission, for them to flaunt it or whatever. It just was a quiet thing. And it was enough that they were there together at the end, and she was there for him in his room and all that stuff.
Okay.
But she also remained objective enough when it came to him really risking himself by going out with Kaneda for the panels.
That's really true. Chris Evans like, I volunteer Kappa, and she's like,
She wasn't like, guys. I think that Kappa is critical to the mission and needs that one spacesuit. You guys have to take the cold. She just kind of let it unfold.
Yeah, Chris Evans survives. What was it?
Negative 260 degrees, something like that. Celsius, dude. Do you know how cold that is?
Cold.
And he has like some peeling on his hands afterwards. It's fine. There was so much inconsequentiality of man and our perceived importance or whatever. Yeah, at that range, just getting in the sunlight burns you to a crisp. And you go all nuts when you're away from humanity for too long, like Searle or whatever. But when Harvey floats off into space, and we get the protracted death for him, right? He opens his eyes and they freeze, and he freezes and he dies from asphyxiation or because his lungs freeze or whatever. But when he hits the edge of the shield and just goes poof, like the radio tower, it's like none of that matters. Nothing that they do matters, which is why they could have launched the payload into the sun, remote detonated it Armageddon style or whatever, or what they had planned to do, and then, sure, have that happen in the background while he fights it out with Pinbacker, because it doesn't matter the outcome of that fight, right? It didn't need to be him chanting about God and having his arm torn off and using somehow God-supplied super strength to dangle him and Cassie over the edge of the precipice.
Yes, he's all fried. How does he lift Kappa into the air with one arm?
Maybe the gravity shifted in his favor. I don't know. Maybe he was lifting while he was on the ship by himself. But what I talked about gravity and Solaris being potential candidates for Space Month. And the reason that we did cover George Clooney, who's been in a number of space movies, The Midnight Sky is what I think it was called. But I think of that movie kind of like Kelly Ray thinks of Sunshine when like the burn dude and his arm peels off or whatever. I cannot get away from the two George Clooney movies and the wonky physics that ruined a space movie, which is all I can remember. Then I look at Sunshine and just top to bottom, the gravity is wonky. Yes, there are spinning components that I guess would lead to artificial gravity, but those pods aren't where they are. When they traverse space to go from the airlock of Icarus 1 to Icarus 2, as soon as Cassie and Corazon turn off, as soon as they seal the airlock and restore the atmosphere, they fall to the floor for gravity. That it doesn't work like that. It's for as much dedication as they give in Sunshine to physics and the limitations of space that close to the sun, it just all kind of falls apart when it's convenient. How do you feel about the wonkiness of physics in space as relates to the movies that we've selected for Space Month?
I definitely thought about the gravity issue. That's a big deal in Project Hail Mary because it's necessary for the instrumentation to work. I definitely thought about the fact that they weren't in a centrifuge in the living quarters or whatever of the Icarus 2, but I guess there were enough of the science-y tropes, the Earth room, the forbidden romances, the EVA walks. Curiously, though, no cryosleep in Sunshine. Or at least it didn't have a place in the story. Were they just chilling for 7 years on their way to the sun? And how did it only take 7 years?
That's how long Icarus took. But Mace talked about something about after 18 months or something to that effect. So they didn't approach light speed travel because it only takes 8 minutes for light to get from the sun to Earth, but they were in space for a long time. But 18 months is roughly what it took for the Martian. I think it's two and a half years actually to get to Mars, which is our closest neighbor planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. But again, they weren't at the sun yet. They were millions of miles away from the sun. They were just closer, much, much closer. You know how huge the sun is?
It's pretty big.
And pretty hot.
That's my scientific analysis of the sun. But the science isn't as important as the horror elements of Sunshine. I think that this is a worthy inclusion because that's a little bit more unusual of a take, right? There's the heroism and all that kind of good stuff, but there's also the scary aspect of Sunshine, which I think makes it unique. Not necessarily good. I found this viewing to be pretty unpleasant, but I guess I can appreciate Sunshine.
There's a lot of beauty and gore kind of interplaying at the same time. And I think that's present in pretty much anything that Danny Boyle or Alex Garland does. I mean, I was pretty grossed out by a lot of Slumdog Millionaire, but that has a curious beauty. Maybe it's in Danny Boyle's flair in his eye for style. But it does come down to, I think, for Space Month, what all of these movies subject themselves to, and that is the human condition and how space and the limitations of physics apply to human suffering and triumph and will to survive and all that stuff. Like human concerns. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we'll kill Wong when you weigh him against humanity.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So is that the right choice? And if so, why can't Cassie make it?
For emotional engagement. I think she made it. I don't think she was dead. And anyway, Kappa didn't care. He was like reveling in the light and having his back in time God moment in front of the sun, which I think was just a moment frozen in time. All I'm saying is for space and the vastness of space for Space Month, a lot of human concerns, a lot of human level drama happening.
What do you think about 6 stars, potentially great movie ruined by poor script decisions?
Was that written by Tarantino, who called Alex Garland's Act 3 an outright betrayal?
I don't know. It says, yes, if Tarantino goes by E. Baxter, 1.
Doubtful.
8 stars. A crew of 8 tries to save mankind from freezing to death.
So a recap? 8 stars for this recap.
I guess it shows that they got it. And at a 7-star average, Sunshine, rather good.
Rather good. And so much of it was good. I enjoyed this viewing because I knew that questionable pinbacker stuff at the end was happening, which is why I'm saying that if you compartmentalize that part, remember when Gail Ann Hurd suggested to James Cameron that the way to get aliens down to time was to cut the entirety of Act 1 when Newt and her family and the colony are taken over by aliens? They just cut it. And that's restored in the director's cut. But just excising all the pinbacker stuff and releasing the payload, and then on Earth, his sister, who's the actress for Kappa's sister, her real name is Paloma, just gets a little bit brighter. And you'd be like, yay, or whatever. And then people wouldn't see. I'm afraid that people wouldn't have remembered it so disparagingly, but also people probably wouldn't have remembered
it at all.
Yeah. Maybe if they cut it out, I'm willing to see how it would go. If someone recut Sunshine, would it even have exceeded 90 minutes? Don't know.
Yeah, we need the Shining version of Sunshine.
The recut, the trailer that totally changes the tone, so it's a comedy or like a space camp kind of movie.
Yeah, in the end, they're all glorying in the sunshine of the spring of humankind.
Danny Boyle might have been in a little bit over his head. He's a smaller movie stylized director, and he says that he will never make a sci-fi movie again or another space movie again in his life because it was really taxing on him.
I'm all right with that. Danny Boyle, been there, done that.
Yeah.
And so that's the capper for our Kappa Captain Space Month.
Yep.
Check out our other discussions of Apollo 13, The Martian, and Interstellar, or orwhatevermovies.com, wherever you get podcasts. And stay tuned for our upcoming month, which is themed how, Wes?
Catherine Bigelow. Don't remember that name? Well, you should, because she has her place among filmmakers of what Iris loves, which is bros broing down movies.
So thanks for listening to Space Month. Thanks for listening to this discussion on Sunshine. And we'll see you next time.
NFL football season is here, which means when you switch to Verizon, it feels like touchdown. Because you get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us when you buy an eligible 5G phone on select unlimited plans, which means you can watch every out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. And it's all on us. Now that's the Verizon way to kick off the NFL football season right. Switch and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us, only with Verizon.
The right window treatments change everything. Your sleep, your privacy, the way every room looks and feels. At Blinds.com, we've spent 30 years making it surprisingly simple to get exactly what your home needs. We've covered over 25 million windows and have 50,000 five-star reviews to prove we deliver. Whether you DIY it or want a pro to handle everything from measure to install, we have you covered. Real design professionals, free samples, zero pressure. Right now, get up to 45% off site-wide, plus get a free professional measure at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.
Electricast.